One thing about creative people that I've noticed, and it's something that I suffer from too, depending on the circumstances, is we get a little more anxious than other people do. I think it's just the creative juices and the way that our brains are kind of wired differently than everybody else. And sometimes it can be hard to talk about because if you're trying to convey how you're feeling or completely irrational fears to somebody that doesn't suffer from anxiety or something like that, you're not going to get the answers or the help that you're really looking for. Now, there are obviously different scenarios and levels to this and the extremities of said anxiety. Sometimes, people might get really anxious about a big show. Sometimes people might get anxious about playing in front of their friends or their wife or their loved one or their family. Sometimes somebody might get anxious about going to the recording studio. You might get anxious about, basically anything that requires you putting yourself out there with music. Now, when I was in high school and I was originally a drummer in a band, I never had any anxiety because I knew I was, competent enough and I knew the material enough to make it through any kind of gig. And even if I screwed up, it was not the end of the world. I didn't, dread it or fear going out and playing live. But when I started my second band, after I taught myself guitar, I started to have intense anxiety about it. But not because I was playing guitar. Believe it or not, I sang in a band as the lead singer for about, like a year and a half or so. And this is really funny to admit. I purposely used to sit back a little further than normal off the microphone so you really couldn't hear what I was saying. And I would be playing at decent sized venues and we were kind of playing like more aggressive rock, and I would kind of lay off so that the focus wouldn't be on my voice, so that people wouldn't be thinking, oh, he can't sing or something like that. I was so insecure about it. And to this day, I don't practice singing. I don't consider myself a singer. I mean, I can hit pitches and stuff like that, and I can help my wife sing. I can do all that kind of stuff. But as far as me being the singer, I don't know. I still don't like doing it. But I just found it interesting that that's what gave me anxiety. However, after that, there have been several gigs that have been much bigger scale that I have played. And the only way I could go on stage and even just play guitar, even if it was simple stuff, I have a few drinks beforehand. And I would always have like a whiskey, a neat whiskey right next to me on the stage that I could easily get to in case it started to get a little too intense. It's no way to go. I know that, a lot of musicians do that. There's no real, as long as you're in control of everything and you don't make an ass of yourself and you can play well, if that's what you need to do, I guess that's okay. But really, it's just a band-aid. It doesn't actually solve any of the issue. And I only bring this up because I haven't been anxious in quite some time. And I'm actually not even anxious about moving from California to Florida. I'm actually super anxious, though, about flying. I have not flown totally sober in like 25 years. Yeah. I'm somebody that likes being in control. I don't like not being able to get out or get off of something. Trains in New York City didn't really bother me. It never really did, because it was always like such a short ride. And if you really wanted to get off, you could get off. And then driving, it's the same thing, You can always just park the car or get off the highway for a minute, take a breath, walk around, feel the earth under your feet. And driving and flying are completely different, obviously, in that sense. So I guess I'm only making this to kind of talk myself through this. I don't intend on drinking like ever again, and that's how I flew. So now I'm going into this with a toddler. Obviously, we have to follow all of the protocol, which is going to be its own set of headaches. And, I get the safety part of it, but trying to keep a mask on a toddler it's going to be around 9 straight hours. Oh, that's going to be fun. That's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm just trying to find a way personally through that and to keep it together for her. And obviously my wife, she's going to have to deal with basically both of us. I don't envy her at all in this sense. So what I would like to ask you guys is, when you get really anxious, what do you do to try and quell it? Whether it's to go on a stage or something silly like flying. I know flying is safe. There's nothing like inherently dangerous about flying. It's more dangerous to drive a car, but it's just that sense of not being in control of it that kind of, it freaks me out. And I know this has nothing really to do with music, but clearly you could tell, I'm kind of anxious just talking about it. And I just wanted to get that out there, and maybe it'll make me feel better later. And that's going to be it. I'm not asking you for a like. I'm not asking you to subscribe today. I am just extremely anxious about this, like kind of inordinately so, and looking for a little bit of advice from you guys because, feel like I know you guys, and I'm all for any ideas or methods I can try to use here to make this a little bit easier and to stop stressing so much over something that I know isn't that big of a deal. Until tomorrow, I promise it will actually be guitar stuff. Take care, guys.